Museum, there are many Americans who do not believe that Hawaii is a state. I'm serious. They do not, if you're not from Illinois or Minnesota, got that, or Michigan with that UP accent thing going, well, I tell you what, here's the thing. Hawaii is a state. The president was born there, and he's the president of the United States. That's easy. And when's the last time we asked a sitting president to show his papers? That is the most amazing thing I've seen in my whole life. I don't have papers on me, but you know I'm here. Wow. There's some presidents I'd like to see their papers. And that other sign, that's the real fear. I done lost something here. There we go. Again, these are everyday objects. Everyday objects. And do you know, and I know some of you know because you're veterans of the Civil Rights Movement, but you know that when they went looking for Goodman, Swarner, and Cheney, and they dragged, I got to get to my English thing, when they dragged those rivers, what did they find? Other people. Didn't they? And the only I love Eyes on the Prize. I love that series. But you know, you quibble with little things. The one thing I quibble about in that series is that when they were discussing finding those bodies, they used this phrase, they found dozens of unnamed bodies. And I quibble with that. You know why? Because we all got names, baby. We all somebody's child. So the NAACP used to do the research, coming up with somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 lynchings. And now you hear on Fox television commentators joking about lynching, getting rid of the president. One of my friends, Carvin Eisen, professor at New York SUNY, is coming out with a video where he shows the relationship between old-fashioned lynching metaphors and the President Obama's candidacy. It's a brilliant documentary. Hatred is not just about words. My granddad used to say all the time, sticks and stones may break my bones, but what is it? Yeah, but that's not true. That's not true. That's not true, because words are the tillers of the soil. The objects that I showed you are the tillers of the soil. They are the fertilizer that makes that possible. They are the fertilizer. I show people, they come into the museum, I show them all the objects of hatred on one side, and then I show them pictures of people being physically brutalized. People being brutalized daily with systemic poverty. I show them that because that and that are related. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Kung Fu picture. I was doing a conference, an honor students, and all the state of Michigan. We were out in the middle of nowhere, no ESPN, no nothing, but each other. So we had lots of time to talk. I pulled out that actual costume, showed it to the group, 50, 60 of the brightest minds around, or at least honor students. And I said to them, how many of you find this offensive? Almost every hand went up. There's always 2 or 3. Think that if something's funny, it's not offensive, realizing that those are not mutually exclusive categories. But most of them raised their hands. And then I said, how many of you find it racist? And only like a third raised their hands. And I'm looking at this. It is mocking Asian culture. And I'm like, well, what would it take to make it racist? And from the back, the chorus said, make it black. Well, I got to make a quick comment. You know, this whole mascot thing, that is the most amazing thing to me. First of all, most of the names we use for Native Americans aren't even the real names, right? So we call someone Navajo instead of Dene, right? We don't know what we're talking about half the time. And then some of the mascots, it's just actual racist language. How is it that someone could think that calling someone a redskin is not racist? Do what the people in Tallahassee did. Go to the tribes, respect them, and say this right here, out of respect. Say this: we got a lot of money invested in this. We got a lot of tradition invested in this. When we started, this institution was not by you or for you, but we're here now. What is it we can do to keep the Seminole mass? In other words, start a conversation, start a dialogue, and start it with the truth, what your vested interests are. We have schools that mock the rituals, the spiritual rituals of indigenous people. When I was a young boy, the Atlanta Braves used to have Chief Nakahoma, who'd come out every time Hank Aaron and Tommy Aaron, or anyone else, mostly Hank Aaron, hit a home run, and do what he thought was a version of an Indian wedding ritual. Now, can you imagine if every time somebody hit a home run, we baptize somebody? Actually, there is a kind of good thing with that, though. You know what I'm saying? That may not be too... You get the point I'm trying to make, Reverend. If you look at the postcard, then look at the car. I really, if nothing else, I hope you get the connection. The Jews did not kill Jesus, by the way. Can we let that go? Which group killed Jesus? The Romans. This is interesting. I'm going to get closer here. We often treat poor whites with the same disdain that we treat minorities. Hello? We treat poor whites. And you know what that means? It means sometimes we treat them with virtue. Like, think of the Waltons. Patriotic, loving, Christian, hardworking, don't know when to stop saying goodnight. All right? So you got that group. And then think of the movie Deliverance. Remember that movie? Don't call anybody trash. Anybody on this earth. God didn't make any trash. We make trash. That is the softest, worst applause I have gotten in my entire life. Clap if you mean it, and don't clap. Yeah. And don't put me in a position to beg. Don't do that to me. When you take away somebody's voice, they got nothing. I had a chance to work with Will Smith out. I'm not bragging or complaining, just state the fact. Nice young man, and more money than the devil, okay? But one of the things I noticed in Hollywood was when you go in a meeting, some people can't talk. They just can't talk. They have above the line and below the line. Everybody know what I'm talking about? And you can't talk. And so we'd be in a meeting, and because I was his personal consultant, people would come up to me and whisper to me what to say in the meeting. And I'm like, say what you say. Don't tell me. And they're like, no, we can't talk. That's what we tried to do to women in this culture. That's what we tried to do. And I'll give you a little wisdom. I'll give you a little wisdom. Any situation, I don't care what it is, any situation where it takes courage to speak, there is something wrong with the situation, not with the speaker. Does that make sense? I told one of my friends I was going to collect stuff that defamed women, to use it the same way I had used objects that defamed African Americans and their American descendants. And he looked me right in my face and he said, where would you start? In other words, what?